When people talk about black wealth in America, the spotlight usually lands on Los Angeles or Atlanta. Flashy money, celebrity estates, camera-ready success. But there's another kind of wealth. Quieter, heavier, more strategic. And it lives in the shadow of the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. is where power isn't just accumulated, it's positioned. Here, proximity to policy matters more than publicity. In the surrounding suburbs, black executives, investors, media leaders, and power brokers have built estates that rival anything in Beverly Hills, not just in scale, but in influence. This isn't new money. It's institutional money, legacy money. And today, we're taking you inside Washington, D.C.'s Black Power class. And before we go any further, quick thank you. Washington, D.C. was the most voted city in our community poll for the next deep dive. This episode exists because you asked for it. Now, let's step inside the seat of power. Number 9. Deborah Lee, the Glass Fortress of Mass Avenue Heights. If you want to understand how black influence manifests physically in Washington, D.C., you have to start with the home that redefined modern luxury in the capital's stuffiest neighborhood. For decades, Massachusetts Avenue Heights has been the playground of old money diplomats and political heirs. It is a neighborhood of brick, stone, and silence. But when Deborah Lee, the former chairman and CEO of Betty Networks, decided to plant her flag, she didn't just buy a house, she commissioned a statement. Lee, who spent over 3 decades steering black entertainment television from a niche cable channel into a global cultural juggernaut, needed a residence that reflected her position at the intersection of media and politics. She purchased a property on Woodland Drive, just a stone's throw from the vice president's residence, but quickly realized the existing Tudor-style home didn't match her vision. In a move that signaled pure executive confidence, she razed it to the ground. In its place, she built a contemporary tour de force that looked less like a house and more like a private museum. Spanning nearly 11,000 square feet, the residence was a marvel of steel, glass, and concrete, a sharp, unapologetic contrast to the traditional architecture surrounding it. The design featured a dramatic curved facade that maximized privacy while offering sweeping views of Rock Creek Park. Inside, the Great Room boasted 20-foot ceilings and walls of floor-to-ceiling glass, creating an atrium-like atmosphere where Lee hosted the who's who of Black Washington. This wasn't just a home, it was a salon for the new power class. This is where $40,000 a plate fundraisers for President Obama were held. This is where strategy sessions for the Congressional Black Caucus took place over wine from her temperature-controlled cellar. The amenities were designed for a woman who lived her life on a global stage: a private screening room to review BET pilots, a professional-grade fitness center, an indoor pool that felt like a spa retreat, and a master suite that Lee referred to as her treehouse, a floating sanctuary of glass suspended above the park, complete with a dressing room that rivaled high-end boutiques. When Lee sold the property for a reported $9.5 million, it wasn't just a real estate transaction, it was the closing of a chapter. The house stood as physical proof that a black woman could enter the most exclusive, traditional corridors of DC power and literally reshape the skyline in her own image. It remains one of the most architecturally significant homes ever built by a black executive in the region. Number 8. The Black Beverly Hills, the Woodmore and Bowie enclaves. Before we escalate to the individual billionaires, we must acknowledge a unique phenomenon that exists only in the DC metropolitan area. In most cities, black wealth is scattered. A few mansions here, a gated community there. But in Prince George's County, Maryland, specifically in the enclaves of Woodmore and Bowie, black wealth has achieved something unprecedented: critical mass. This area is often cited as the wealthiest majority black county in the United States. But that statistic doesn't do justice to the visual reality of the Woodmore Country Club community. Drive through these gates, and you are not looking at starter homes. You are looking at 10,000 square foot custom estates lining the fairways of an Arnold Palmer-designed golf course. This is the Black Beverly Hills, but without the paparazzi. The wealth here is distinct because it is diversified. You have government contractors who secure billion-dollar defense deals living next to neurosurgeons. You have retired NFL legends living next to lobbyists who rewrite federal regulations. The homes reflect this collective ambition. Massive brick colonials with four-car garages, sprawling lawns, and backyard resort complexes are the standard. What makes Woodmore fascinating is the psychology of the architecture. These homes are designed for gathering. They feature massive ballrooms, basement entertainment complexes that rival nightclubs, and commercial-grade kitchens. Why? Because in D.C., business happens at the cookout. The networking that built the black middle and upper class in America finds its physical hub here. While we can't pin a single billionaire label on the entire neighborhood, the collective net worth of these zip codes rivals the GDP of small nations. It is a fortress of black stability. When you see aerial shots of these winding streets, you are looking at the result of generations of access to federal jobs, higher education, and entrepreneurship. It is the baseline from which the ultra-wealthy in this video launched their empires. It is the soil that grew the giants. If this story is opening your eyes to the hidden geography of black wealth, consider dropping a super thanks. Channels like Black Status are built to document these legacies, and your support helps us dig deeper, fly further, and tell the stories that mainstream media overlooks. A super thanks isn't just a tip. It's a vote for more content that celebrates Black power. Number 7. Earl Stafford, the philanthropic palace of McLean. Now we cross the river into Virginia, into the rolling hills of McLean, a town that serves as the home base for the global defense and intelligence elite. This is where the heavy hitters of government contracting live, and among them stands Earl Stafford, a man whose approach to wealth is as unique as his mansion. Stafford made his fortune as the founder of Unitech, a company that provided simulation and training systems for the military. In the world of DC money, this is the quiet billions sector. It's not flashy, but when you are training the US Army, the contracts are endless. When Stafford sold his company to General Dynamics in 2008, he didn't just cash out. He catapulted himself into the upper echelon of American philanthropy. His residence in McLean reflects the stature of a man who once spent $1.6 million to take 300 disadvantaged youth to President Obama's inauguration, providing them with tuxedos, gowns, and a five-star experience. The Stafford estate is less a house and more of a diplomatic compound. Tucked away on a private wooded lot in one of Virginia's most expensive zip codes, the home is designed for high-level entertaining. We are talking about a property that likely spans over 12,000 square feet, characterized by the stately, reserved architecture that defines McLean. Think red brick, white pillars, and manicured boxwoods, the uniform of the DC establishment. But inside, the scale is massive. These homes typically feature grand foyers with double staircases, libraries paneled in rare mahogany, and dining rooms capable of seating 30 guests for a state dinner. Stafford's home matters because of who walks through the doors. This is a residence where the lines between charity, business, and faith blur. Stafford, a devout Christian, views his wealth as a tool for ministry and service. His home is the operational base for the Stafford Foundation, where strategies to help the least of these are formulated by men in bespoke suits. In McLean, where your neighbor might be the director of the CIA or a senator, Stafford's presence is a reminder that black wealth in D.C. isn't just participating in the system, it is actively trying to humanize it. Number 6. Sugar Ray Leonard, the legacy estate of Potomac. Before the tech moguls and the defense contractors took over, there was the champ. To understand the evolution of black mansions in the D.C. area, we have to pay homage to the property that set the standard for athlete estates in the region, Sugar Ray Leonard's Potomac compound. Though Leonard has since sold the property and moved to the West Coast, his estate in Potomac, Maryland remains a legendary benchmark in local real estate lore. For years, this was the house. Leonard, one of the greatest boxers of all time, earned purses that were unheard of in his era, and he poured that wealth into a property that screamed heavyweight champion of the world. Located in the Golden Horseshoe of Potomac, a crescent of ultra-luxury homes, the estate was a sprawling masterclass in excess. We are talking about nearly 20,000 square feet of living space on massive acreage. The property was built to be a private country club. It featured a full-sized indoor pool, a tennis court, and, naturally, a professional-grade gym where the champ stayed sharp. But the real flex was the privacy. In Potomac, land is the ultimate luxury, and Leonard's estate was set back behind gates and dense foliage, invisible to the street. It established the template for the modern celebrity compound in the D.C. suburbs, close enough to the city to be relevant, but far enough away to be untouchable. When Leonard lived there, the house was a symbol. It showed that a black man from North Carolina could literally fight his way to the top of the economic food chain and buy the biggest house in the rich white suburbs. It paved the way for the next generation of black elites, the lawyers, the doctors, the lobbyists, to move into Potomac and claim their space. Today, while other mansions may be newer or more modern, the Sugar Ray House is still whispered about as the original heavyweight champion of D.C. real estate. Number 5. Eddie Brown, the quiet billion of Baltimore. Moving north toward the Baltimore-D.C. corridor, we encounter a man whose net worth and residence are shrouded in the kind of discretion that only true old-school money can afford. Eddie Brown is arguably one of the greatest stock pickers in American history, yet you could walk past him in a grocery store and never know you were standing next to a financial giant. Brown is the founder of Brown Capital Management, an investment firm that manages over $10 billion in assets. He is often called the Warren Buffett of the South. But unlike the flashier hedge fund managers of New York, Brown operates with a quiet, methodical precision. His wealth is estimated in the hundreds of millions, likely touching the billionaire threshold when factoring in his firm's valuation and decades of compounding returns. His residence reflects this philosophy. Located in the affluent suburbs north of Baltimore, an area filled with rolling hills and horse farms, Brown's estate is a sanctuary. While details of the interior are kept private for security reasons, aerial views and local knowledge describe a property of immense scale. We are talking about a custom-built estate set on acres of private land, designed to host the kind of philanthropic galas that Brown is famous for. The Brown estate is significant because it houses a collection of African-American art that rivals many museums. Eddie and his wife Sylvia are among the nation's top collectors, and their home is essentially a gallery for black genius. But beyond the art, the house is a testament to the power of ownership. Brown famously started his firm after leaving T. Rowe Price because he wanted equity, not just a salary. Living in a massive estate in the Maryland countryside, far from the noise of Wall Street, Brown proves that you don't need to be in the center of the media circus to control the money. You just need to be right. His home is a fortress of intellectual capital, a place where market strategies are refined and where millions of dollars are directed toward Baltimore charities, reshaping the city's educational landscape from the comfort of a library chair. Number 4. Barack and Michelle Obama, the power center of Kalorama. Let's be clear, the Obamas may not be Forbes' list billionaires yet, but in the currency of status, influence, and global power, they are the wealthiest couple on Earth. And their post-presidency residence in the Kalorama neighborhood of D.C. is the physical embodiment of that status. When the Obamas left the White House in 2017, they didn't flee to the suburbs. They dug in. They purchased an $8.1 million historic Tudor mansion in Kalorama, the neighborhood of choice for diplomats, Supreme Court justices, and Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. This move was a signal: we aren't going anywhere. The house itself is a masterpiece of understated power. Built in 1928, the 8,200-square-foot residence features 9 bedrooms and 8.5 bathrooms. From the street, it is elegant but fortress-like, with a brick facade and heavy security modifications installed by the Secret Service, including guard booths that command the street. Inside, the home has been renovated to reflect the Obamas' modern, sophisticated aesthetic. The living rooms are washed in cool grays and neutrals, decorated with groundbreaking art by black creators. It is a home designed for the life of a global statesman. There are private studies where Barack writes his best-selling memoirs and Michelle drafts her podcasts. There is a sprawling terrace and a manicured garden that offers a rare commodity in D.C. absolute privacy in the middle of the city. But the real value of this mansion isn't the square footage. It's the room where it happens energy. This house is the new center of gravity for the Democratic Party and the global progressive movement. World leaders, tech CEOs, and cultural icons pass through these doors for quiet dinners. By planting their flag in Kalorama, the Obamas transformed a historic white mansion into a permanent monument to Black governance. It is the only house on this list that will arguably be a historic landmark 100 years from now. Number 3. Cathy Hughes, the media empress of Potomac. If Deborah Lee built a glass fortress, Cathy Hughes built a kingdom. As the founder of Urban One, formerly Radio One, Cathy Hughes is the first African-American woman to head a publicly traded corporation. She is a media titan who started with a single radio station and built an empire that reaches 82% of Black America. And her residence in Potomac, Maryland, is fit for a queen. Hughes has long been a resident of the ultra-exclusive Potomac suburbs, an area known for its Potomac housewives drama, but grounded by serious, industrial-scale wealth. Hughes's estate is legendary in the area for its grandeur. We are talking about a property that embodies the more is more aesthetic of the 1990s and 2000s boom years. The estate is set on acres of manicured land, featuring the kind of architectural details that signal dominance: towering columns, a circular driveway that could fit a motorcade, and interiors dripping with gold leaf and crystal. This is a home built by a woman who slept on the floor of her first radio station with her young son to keep the business alive. Every square inch of marble in her foyer is a receipt for that struggle. The Hughes estate is not just a home. It is a repository of Black media history. It is where the strategy to launch TV One was refined. It is where the deals to acquire massive radio syndication networks were celebrated. Hughes is known for her fierce advocacy for the Black community, and her home serves as a gathering space for the activists and politicians she supports. In a town where power is often transient, politicians come and go every 4 years, Cathy Hughes represents permanence. Her estate in Potomac is a reminder that while votes can be recounted, ownership is absolute. She owns the airwaves, she owns the land, and she owns the narrative. Number 2. Sheila Johnson, the Salamander Sanctuary. Now we arrive at the billionaire tier. Sheila Johnson is a woman who defies categorization. She is the co-founder of BET, the first Black female billionaire, a part owner of 3 professional sports teams, the Wizards, the Capitals, and the Mystics, and a hospitality mogul. Her primary residence and business hub in Middleburg, Virginia, is quite possibly the most spectacular Black-owned estate in America. While many billionaires buy a mansion, Sheila Johnson bought a town's history. She purchased 340 acres in Middleburg, the heart of Virginia's horse and hunt country, a region historically dominated by the white aristocracy of the Rockefellers and Mellons. There, she built the Salamander Resort and Spa, a Forbes 5-star property that is a masterpiece of luxury. But her personal estate on the grounds is where the real magic happens. Johnson lives on a working farm within this massive compound. Her home is a sprawling, equestrian-inspired manor that blends rustic charm with billionaire execution. We are talking about stone fireplaces tall enough to stand in, libraries filled with rare books, and windows that look out over rolling pastures filled with thoroughbred horses. This estate is the headquarters of The Second Act. After leaving BET, Johnson reinvented herself as the queen of luxury hospitality. Her home reflects this. It is designed for hosting the global elite, from Oprah Winfrey to heads of state, in an environment that is distinctly Southern and unapologetically high-end. The grounds feature professional-grade equestrian facilities, miles of riding trails, and a level of serenity that money usually can't buy. Johnson's presence in Middleburg is a radical act of space-taking. She took the most exclusive, exclusionary subculture in Virginia, the fox-hunting, horse-riding elite, and placed a Black woman at the head of the table. Her estate isn't just a home. It's a 340-acre declaration that the land belongs to us too. Number 1. Robert L. Johnson, the headquarters of Black capital. At the very top of our list sits the man who started it all. Robert L. Johnson, the founder of BET, the first Black billionaire in American history. The man who sold his network to Viacom for $3 billion and then asked, "What's next?" Robert Johnson's estate in Bethesda, Maryland, is widely considered the crown jewel of black real estate in the D.C. area. While he owns properties across the globe, from a villa in the Caribbean to apartments in New York, his Bethesda compound is the mothership. Located in one of the most secluded and expensive neighborhoods in the capital region, the RLJ estate is a compound in the truest sense of the word. The property is vast, shielded from the road by dense forests and high-security gates. The main house is a modern architectural marvel, often described by locals as a corporate campus disguised as a home. The architecture reflects Johnson's business style: cold, precise, and massive. It spans tens of thousands of square feet, featuring amenities that go beyond the standard gym and pool. We are talking about a private art gallery to house his world-class collection, a boardroom that rivals Wall Street offices, where Johnson manages the RLJ companies, his portfolio of hotels, car dealerships, and private equity ventures. It is also a symbol of access. Johnson is known for his close ties to the political elite, from the Clintons to the Bushes. His home is one of the few places in D.C. where billions of dollars in private equity capital meet the highest levels of political influence. It is the room where it happens on a financial scale that no other black home in the region can match. Robert L. Johnson's mansion is number one, not just because of its price tag or its square footage, but because it is the anchor. It is the proof of concept. It stands as a testament that a black man from Mississippi can come to Washington, build an empire, sell it, build another one, and live like a king in the capital of the free world. From glass-walled modern fortresses to equestrian estates hidden behind miles of private land, these homes tell a story far bigger than luxury. They represent access, permanence, control. In a city once built by black labor and owned by white power, these estates mark a shift in who holds the keys, the contracts, and the influence. These aren't just places to live. They're command centers for culture, capital, and policy. If you want more deep dives into black wealth, power, and the spaces where history is quietly shaped, make sure you subscribe to Black Status. This channel exists to document what others overlook. We're just getting started.